What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Hope everybody's having a great day or night whenever you're watching this. We got to talk the Chargers and free agency because it is right around the corner. And me being a Chargers fan, I want to talk about some moves I want to see them make. So without that all being said, let's jump right into it. There's some weaknesses on this team, and they got money to blow. So I want to start at receiver, right? There's really only one option in the entire receiving free agency class that I care about if they were to sign him. Davante Adams. The Chargers are on his list of like 3 teams that he wants to play for. He still has an elite level of route running. He's still pretty healthy all the time. Contested catch guy, red zone threat. I would like to see him back there. If the contract makes sense, if it's like a 2 years, $60 million or something like that, where he gets 30 per year. I mean, I think he still performs at that level. He's just had dog water at QB as a Raider. So I think he would be perfect for Justin Herbert. He would be like a souped up Keenan Allen. So I would be a fan of that. And if they don't get Davante Adams, draft the receivers. Nobody else really woos me in this free agency class. T. Higgins is getting tagged. He ain't happening. So that's how that goes. I think interior O-line is ultimately the biggest weakness this Chargers team has. They need a center and they need a guard, particularly whoever's going to play opposite of Zion Johnson, because clearly he's going to be back. So they're going to need 2 interior O-line pieces, whether it's right guard or left guard, doesn't really matter to me. But center's the most important. Center's the most important for me because we saw how much more effective Justin Herbert was when he had like Corey Linsley helping on the line. And obviously Linsley has retired. And, last year what they got out of that position, just not all that superb. So Drew Dahlman is like the big fish of centers in this class. I think if they were to splurge on him to get him in there, he's only 26, that would be a great move. If they're able to pry him from Atlanta, I would be a huge fan of that. I think outside of him, if you wanted to go get like a Josh Myers in Green Bay, he seems to be like just a solid starting level center. I don't think he's as good as Dahlman, but if you wanted to get somebody on probably a more reasonable contract, I think that's the guy. So I think those two centers, if they can pull one of those guys, or worst case scenario, draft one in the 2nd or 3rd round, I think that's the dream right there, because they have to shore up the interior of the O-line, because you can't have pressure from up the middle. That blows up plays every single time. So I want to see them do that. Edge rusher is another huge weakness they have right now, because they just cut Joey Bosa. Khalil Mack's a free agent, and I'll start that by saying I want Khalil Mack back. If they're able to bring him back and it makes sense, I absolutely want him back. But other guys, just in case we have to look the other way, like if Mack just decides he wants to go try to ring chase or something like that, I absolutely would not blame him. Harold Landry, he's been really good his entire career. Last year, I think he had 9 or 10 sacks. I think he's 28, so he's not out of his prime or anything. He would be a good option in that, and for bolstering the pass rush if they needed it. I think Baron Browning, who was a Bronco and he was traded to the Cardinals last year, he's never put it like all the way together to like being like an elite player. But man, that dude's got some flashes and he's still young. So every time when he was a Bronco playing the Chargers, he would just destroy our offensive line. So yeah, I've seen this. I think if they can get him under Harbaugh and under Jesse Minter, they might be able to get him to put the package together. That would be a guy I would be kind of paying attention to. Don't know if the Cardinals are going to let him go because they did trade for him, but something to pay attention to. I think if you wanted to go for like a cheap, end of the free agency list kind of guy, Dante Fowler is just a dude who comes in, gives you 5 to 10 sacks a year and makes some plays here and there. He's not going to blow up other teams' game plans or anything like that, but he's still a pretty solid pass rusher. He is I think he's 31. He's kind of on the edge of that prime, but if you wanted like a Bud Dupree type signing like they did last year, I think that's the guy. So I would like any of those edge rushers, right? Khalil Mack, Harold Landry, Baron Browning, and Dante Fowler. If we can get any combo of those guys, that's a big win. So I would be excited to see that on the D-line going for next year. Side note, I do want Poona Ford back on that D-line. He's not an edge rusher, but Poona Ford, we need to get him back. Just a quick little nod to him because he had a great year last year. I do think they could use a little bit of help at corner. I do think that they have the corners of the future on this team. And so what I think they need would be like a guy like Nate Hobbs, who is a Raider, and he's a perfect nickel corner. So if you have Cam Hart out there on the edge, we have Tarheeb still on the edge, and then Nate Hobbs on the nickel, that would be pretty damn good. In the secondary, obviously you have Derwin, Elijah Molden, and I believe Elohi Gilman's back. So they would have a really nasty secondary if they could get a Nate Hobbs. I'd be really excited for that. Or if that doesn't fall, into plan, if they don't even try that, whatever. Christian Fulton, I'd be cool seeing him back. He's an excellent tackler. He played well in the system. Teams did target him because they didn't want to go at the 2 rookies. And somebody's got to get targeted out there. Teams are going to find their mismatches, and it just so happens to be that who Fulton would be covering most times is the better option than going at Cam Hart or Tarheeb still. I like him. The tackling is really good, and I think he's a pretty cost-effective player. I don't think he's going to get a bag or anything like that. So I would like to see him back. Running back, J.K. Dobbins. Bring him back. Bring back J.K. Dobbins and draft a running back. Draft another one. Because they cut Gus Edwards yesterday, I believe. And, you're going to need some backs back there because they don't have anything signed right now that's going to be important for next year. So draft J.K. Dobbins. If a guy like Ashton Genty is there in the mid to late 20s on the board, maybe that's a thing they do. But there's a lot of really good running backs they could probably get second, third, fourth round. And, but regardless, bring back J.K. Dobbins. We need him back. I would say in order of new additions, so putting Khalil Mack, Christian Fulton, and Poona Ford off to the side, the guys that I would want the most, I think Drew Dahlman would be my most important pickup at center. I think that would be a huge win. I think Nate Hobbs at corner would be fantastic if you just wanted to build a super souped up secondary. I think he'd probably be second, maybe third on my list. I think Devontae Adams is super enticing because we know what he's done in his career, but he is in that tail end. So that's why I don't put him at 1 or 2, just because he's not the long-term solution at the position as to where a Drew Dahlman is a long-term solution. I do think ancillary guys like Harold Landry, like Baron Browning, dudes like that would be nice to get just to add some juice to the defense because they have the makings of a really good team. They've got a lot of money, and they're going to have some good picks to pick from here. They have a good chance to make this team really damn good next year, as to where this year they were a surprise, right? They were oh, wow, they actually, they fought their way into the playoffs, and obviously they lose in the playoffs, but they have a chance to spend some money here if they do it smartly, bring in some key pieces that I think if you shore up that interior O-line, that's going to be a huge win. And if you can add some pass rush, huge win. Bring back J.K. Dobbins. And there's options at receiver in the draft. There's options at corner. They have a little bit of room here to make this team really good. And ultimately, it's a few things that need fixing. It's not they need an entire defense. They need an entire secondary. They need a couple pass rushers. They need a center and another guard. So those are 2 huge pieces, I would say, honestly. And then if they can find another receiver and bring back some of the guys you already had, problems are all solved if you can pull that off. But yeah, let me know in the comments, who do you want to see the Chargers pick up in free agency this year? Because there's a lot of different avenues you can go. There's a lot of talent in this year's free agency pool. I think particularly at the positions they need, like pass rusher, interior O-line, those are the ones that would be have a lot of depth this year. As to where I don't think receiver has that much depth. I don't think there's much at running back. So I would like to see them focus on those 2 positions, particularly first and foremost, interior O-line and pass rush. They shore those up, they can go into the draft and look to make some splashes. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking for the offseason, for free agency at least. I'll do another draft video closer to the draft once I kind of see how things are looking to unfold. But it could be very exciting for the Chargers in 2 months' time, how it looks. So if you're new to the channel, please subscribe if you like this kind of content. Please like the video. I really appreciate y'all for watching. Shout out to the Chargers. Let's see how they blow this money. Hopefully they don't do anything stupid. And, bring in some really quality players and build your team into another year under the Harbaugh administration. So I'm excited, but I'm done. Peace.